Hello and welcome to Geek Trays.
Your podcast for all things geeky. I'm Greg Barlow.
And I'm Douw Pretorius.
And today you're joining us for episode 69.
Nice.
If you don't get that reference, you are too young or too old to be listening to this show.
Just replace the B or the Z.
But yeah, so today our title doesn't quite indicate it, but we're doing a little bit of a post-mortem on the 40K Nationals that both Douw and I attended.
Yeah. It was a good event.
Yeah.
We did pretty well, so
definitely worth chatting about.
Mm-hmm.
But before that, Douw, what are you drinking tonight?
Today, some Glenlivet Founders.
That's nice. I just have a Double Dragon because sometimes you just want something really plain but still alcoholic.
But still like 6%. Cheers.
So, cheers.
Yeah. Nix's family actually, I think it's third cousins own that company. So, yeah.
Oh, okay. I once met someone who was doing their marketing or something and was telling really bad stories about the company.
Oh no!
But it was a long time ago.
That's all marketing for all companies, though, Greg. Let's be honest.
I still like drinking. What's it called? Stony, I suppose, or what's the equivalent?
Yeah, I think it's like a Stony or etc. I mean, there's all sorts of other ginger beers and such.
Ginger beer, that's the. Thank you. I couldn't remember what it was called. My mind was blanking. It's been a long day.
Yeah. That's how South African you are. You just know it as Stony.
But yeah, okay. So let's mosey on over to a wild news headline, where we will be heading towards the last gym before you can go on to your victory road.
Ooh.
And that gym is in none other than the first town, because that gym's closed when you first go through it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what we called the
town, but yeah.
Pallet Town doesn't count.
Yeah.
Beginning town.
Hey, it wasn't Pallet Town. It was, I can't even remember what we called it.
It was something to do with the pallet, right?
Yeah.
Easel Town or something.
Yeah, something like that.
But we need the second town. It was normally Viridian.
Viridian, which is a blue?
Yeah.
No. Green. I can't remember.
The town has since been renamed. Since it's
had a rebranding.
Yeah.
Gym reopening.
Yeah, exactly.
Rebranding. Yeah.
Big thing. Now Stony Grey. What color is this ground? I don't. Yellow. What color is Stony?
Beige, honestly.
Beige Town.
Oh no, that sounds awful. Nothing important happens in a beige town.
Entering Beige Town to get your final badge. You come up to the gym and are about to go inside, but it's weird because there's this massive queue going all the way out of the gym.
Okay.
You're like, what? Hey, that's not usual. Normally you just walk in and fight the gym leader. And that's because your first news headline for the day is Demon Slayer popcorn bucket sparks 5-hour queue at Universal Studios in Japan.
Wow. I mean, it's a good anime.
And the bucket does look really great.
If sure.
You Google it, it's actually. So imagine it's an actual figure of the main female character whose name I'm completely forgetting.
Mexico.
Yes. And she's sort of molded onto the side of the popcorn bucket, as an actual figure.
Okay.
With the scroll in her mouth and everything. So, yeah, there's a reason why it was a 5-hour queue just to get a popcorn.
That's quite the collectible there.
Yeah. Limited edition. Sold for 3,700 yen each, and you could only buy 3.
Okay, 3,700 yen is
it's 480 rand-ish.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say it's usually divide by 10-ish.
Yeah. Oh, well. Yeah. So yeah, apparently some people waited in line all that time and then they sold out.
Oh no! That's how you have to like count and get like numbers up to a certain point and just be like, you are not. Go home.
But you don't know because it's
but,
a limit of 3 each,
no.
right? So you don't know how many each person's buying.
That's true.
You got to assume, but then you send people home and you got left over.
Yeah, that's all right.
So I suppose as you go down the list, you go, how many are you buying? How many are you buying? How many are you buying? How many are you buying?
Have like a take a token, take a ticket sort of like
yeah. Take a ticket for each one you're selling
for 3, 2, or 1 sort of like thing, and then you just have that automatically get picked up by whatever computer sort of thing.
Yeah, and then go and sit in that restaurant over there, and we'll call you when it's time to buy your popcorn.
Possibly. Oh, I mean, we do that for like events and stuff already, but I mean, I suppose you're not expecting that for a popcorn thing at a park, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, Kimetsu no Yaiba is like it's like biggest shonen at the moment, easily. So yeah,
it is very popular. This was on the 16th of September, by the way. So a few days ago. And also
a month ago, Greg.
Oh yeah, it's a month ago. My brain, it's in my mind. It's still September. The year, it goes too quickly.
It does.
So it came with honey plum flavored popcorn inside as well. Honey plum.
Weird.
Japan, very Japan.
I mean, yeah, we'd have to make it like to follow the anime. It should have been Wisteria flavored.
But Japan loves this thing of weirdly flavored things.
Oh yeah, no, I know that entirely. Like sake Kit Kats, and also like there's a worse flavor for the Kit Kats that I heard about recently. I was just like, what? No.
I mean, I bought a whole lot when I was over there. Like,
yeah, they're really good.
Tried to find as many different flavors as I could.
It was like a meat flavor or some variety. I was just like, but why?
Big Kit Kat.
Yeah.
I would try that. I mean,
I know you would. Like everybody would.
Chocolate is good on steak, right? Like,
Yeah.
have you ever had a little bit of chocolate?
I have. It's great. Chocolate sauce. Yeah, it's not bad. So.
Here we go, Kit Kat. We'll take royalties.
Yeah, Wagyu Kit Kats.
Wagyu Kit Kat, yeah.
It's layers, but like this, the wafers are.
Well, they obviously used Wagyu beef milk.
Oh yes, clearly.
Yeah, but I also suspect because it's Japan, when that limit was reached and they sent everyone home who'd been waiting for 5 hours, it was Japan, so they're just like, okay, and they went home. Like there was no like, oh, like it was like, okay, and then they went home.
Oh, I don't know. They went okay, and then opened up eBay to find.
Yeah, immediately. But yeah, so how are you getting past this 5-hour queue? You don't even know if it's 5 hours.
Oh no! Well, that's why I'm a South African, Greg. I know about these things, so I've pre-booked with an online queue stander for me, and I just take my place where they were standing for me for the last 4 hours.
So the queue stander is one of those magic carp, non-IP infringing fish Pokemon trainer.
Ooh,
it's just standing there, and tells you he likes shorts. You pay him an exorbitant fee.
Oh yeah.
But take your place a second in the line.
Yes.
And it's very quick, and you go in, and the gym battle is like practically meaningless. Like it's very quickly done. It's actually supposed to be Elon Musk, but
I was expecting it to be.
He didn't show up because he's got better things to do. Apparently. So just a poor, beleaguered-looking clerk. He's like, please pay here for your final badge.
I mean, that kind of fits in there.
And you get your final badge, the
NFT badge or something.
Yeah. The NFT badge. Well, one of the headlines that I rejected was that Steam's banned NFT games.
Yeah, which
platform.
I mean, it's weird because NFT technology has like really cool principles and stuff within it, but like the way that it's being used currently is just awful. So yeah.
So with your badge armed, you start heading towards the Victory Road. But to get to Victory Road, you first got to pass through what would normally be called the Indigo Plateau. So in this case, it's the plateau.
Violetta
Plateau.
Plateau.
Lightning. You rue the day that you have to pass through this plateau.
Oh no.
Because this is where you have the big fight with your rival.
Ooh.
But we have never canonically established a rival, so there's no one there. It's empty and raining. It's like,
this seems very dramatic, but there's something missing, but I can't put my finger on it.
Lightning. And in the distance, you do see Aquaman.
Oh.
Your next headline as you walk across this desolate plateau with no one to fight. It's that James Wan, the director of the previous Aquaman movie, promises a more mature Aquaman sequel.
Okay. I only recently watched that because it's on Netflix finally. I quite enjoyed it. Like they did him well. Like I enjoyed that he. I mean, like I know it was a bit of a weird characterization, but just that like starting point where like they're on the sub and the villains are like, "Please save us," and he's like, "No, you're the bad guys," and just leaves sort of like thing. And I also enjoyed Jason Momoa did a very like he brought a natural charisma to the character, which I think if they had gone with a more blonde and like something
outrageous
I don't know, I think people might have like got lost in the campiness of it in comparison to kind of what it was. Yeah, tons of CG, unfortunately. Like I think that's the one thing that like they let it down a bit in my mind, was just like
the undersea model was a bit
like it was like a Marvel movie.
What is even going on?
Yeah, but darker, which is difficult.
Well, so coincidentally, it is their most successful movie. Most successful DC.
Yeah, I can understand why. I mean, it's got a decent cast. It's quite a flowing. I would have expected Wonder Woman to have taken that, but
no, Aquaman apparently.
Okay,
we knew.
Well, we do now.
We do now. So do you, listener.
Yeah.
Congratulations. You're armed with this factoid when it gets asked in a pub quiz. For now. It might be updated by the time we get to the pub
quiz. I suspect from the sequel or like I don't know how the Flash movie is going to do. Like I think the whole like it being Infinite Crisis has made it a bit more interesting. But yeah,
I still haven't watched the new Justice League movies.
Neither. Nope, haven't. I've like they're on Netflix finally, so like they're good. Okay. They're good, like painting doing a grind or doing a show. Yeah, exactly. So things to put on the background. So that's where I've caught up with like Wonder Woman and Aquaman. So there's a couple of other ones to like watch now, but yeah, I don't know. Like DC, I don't know. I think for me the problem was there is just that Marvel had already soaked up all of my superhero movie fatigue. So it's just this like I'm like, oh, I don't want to have to get into another thing. And I really I have like an image of like the DC heroes in my head from like the cartoons that I grew up with. And yeah, you know, it's just a bit of a weird one. Like the new Batman looks pretty cool. I'm just wondering how they're gonna canonize it. Are they gonna like do what they did with Venom and be like infinite, like all the stuff that happened with like Loki and everything? Spoilers. But we won't say what spoilers.
Yeah, no. Tricksterness.
Yeah. But yeah, it's weird to kind of see those things there. But
go with that route. Because they've got this precedent of just rebooting Batman every few years, right?
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah. So what do you think of them making it a more mature Aquaman movie as opposed to, because like they had more of that Marvel like lighthearted.
Yeah, they did. You know? I mean, like I don't think they're gonna. To me, you know what I hope that they don't do is like what happened to the second Thor movie. Because that was exactly that, where they were like, we'll just take a darker Thor movie sort of like thing, you know, we'll take him in there and have Broody and have the Dark Elves, and it wasn't great.
Thor movie. Like I can't even like I can remember who the bad guys were, and I can remember one or two scenes of them like flying their ship through the city. Other than that, the second Thor movie is like
Yeah.
No, there was a second Thor movie. I just went to 3, right? 1, 3.
Yeah, but it's exactly that. You know, like there's a way of doing a darker thing. So if you think about, I mean, The Captain America movies are a complete like weird one in there because they change genre every movie. So that's a bit different than
Keeps it fresh.
I enjoyed them. They're probably my favorite of the trilogy of like the original sort of phase heroes. But I don't know, like how do you do a more adult Aquaman sort of like thing there? He's already kind of face Black Manta.
Yeah, it was probably one of his darkest villains. Unless it's the whole. So there is those. They're like the deep people come
Yeah.
from the ravines of, like almost like Cthulhu-esque.
Yeah, but he used them in the last
Yeah,
movie to
it's
beat
true.
the good to win the fight and stuff.
It's
So
true, but maybe
I
they'll go
mean,
deeper to the deep deep.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Like I think like I quite enjoyed that one because it was like adventure and sort of like thing.
Yeah,
If they can keep that up, but keep it some sort of tones in there,
yeah,
it's doable.
it's doable.
And I mean, like you've got like Willem Dafoe still around and a couple of other things. So you've got the actors there who can probably like take it in that direction. So
Yeah, we'll have to see what plotline they go with because there are a lot of Aquaman plotlines. So
there's a ton of DC plot lines.
it's true. Like any comic book series,
Yeah, it's been around
there's
since whenever.
a lot to choose from. So
Yeah.
just Google darkest Aquaman story with jokes.
Oh, yeah. No, it's fine. Like, I don't know. Oh, I could just imagine like the like Green Lantern stuff if they had gone like, it's the darkest one. Fridges. Oh no.
They should really reboot Green Lantern properly.
They should. They should. I would just laugh that Ryan Reynolds comes back as him or something like that.
That would be
It would be hilarious.
I think they'd go with some of the. They won't do a Hal Jordan Green Lantern again. They'd do like one of the newer ones. Because that's like an infinitely rebootable series because you can't just always bring another Earth Green Lantern because there's always another one.
Well, there's always quite a few. I mean, he's like that mantle's probably like one of the most replaced out of the DC heroes. Like Flash as well has had quite a few, but
the fact that it's just the ring, gives you the powers.
I mean, like they've been like multiples of them at the same time as well, though.
That's true. I mean, the whole Green Lantern Corps is a thing. It would actually make a good series, like to do a whole like
do a procedural.
Yeah, exactly. Like Space Police.
Yeah,
I would watch that. Damn, that'd be great.
And then you introduce the new Earth Green Lantern in there before his next movie. And then,
there we go. Perfect.
Done.
And you can even have an episode with the Green Lantern that uses a bell instead of a ring.
Yes,
he's my favorite one because he's blind. But yeah, okay. How are you? Are you just walking across the plateau? It's literally there's no challenge because we didn't establish a rival.
I wave at Aquaman.
Oopsie. Aquaman just hangs out with you, talks about his new movie, how it's going to be great, and you go and watch it. Awesome. And you get Jason Momoa signed autograph. It's great.
Ooh, those are valuable. That can make up for how much I have to pay for that queue.
And you get to the end of the plateau, the Violetta Plateau. And it starts the Victory Road walk, which is the last few steps of various headline collectors before you face the elite quad. Well, the elite 3 actually, because we always do 3 headlines. Coincidentally, foreshadowing. And along the Victory Road walk up the mountain path, you encounter your last news headline. And this last news headline it's got, oh man, I can't remember the character's name, but in that 70s show, the father.
Oh yeah.
What's his name in the show? I can't even remember. Something Rudy or something.
Red. It's just Red.
Red, that's it.
Yeah.
I knew it was. So Red Day, he's just like, dumbass! And he blocks your path. Because this last headline is that Netflix has ordered a 70s show sequel called That 90s Show.
Okay. Well, I mean, like, there was the 80s show.
Yeah, exactly.
So
now we're going to get that 90s show. And it's going to include Red, whose name is it literally says Red Foreman in my notes. I'm dumb.
Yes.
Clifford Smith is his actual name.
Okay.
And also Deborah Jo Rupp as Kitty, and they're going to be grandparents.
Okay, fair.
And then the main character will be the grandchild of Eric and Donna.
Yeah.
And that's going to mainly be around her and her friends that are visiting Grandma and Grandpa in that.
And getting high in the basement.
Yeah, obviously. Some things never change.
No. Okay, that could be interesting. Like it's another stage of nostalgia pop, I suppose.
Yeah.
I expect it's going to get to like some big thing and then get cancelled before we get to the end.
I don't know. It's Netflix money, though. They just
no, that's exactly the thing, Greg. Netflix are like, 2 seasons with no finale. No, you don't need a third season.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, no.
The first two were good enough.
Right. We'll at least get 1.5 seasons, and then the last half will be rushed and cancelled.
Yeah, and be like a special, 1 hour special,
a Christmas special.
Yeah. I mean, that could be kind of cool. I assume it's the same writers, sort of thing as well.
I haven't mentioned writers. They did mention that Kurt Smith and Deborah Jo Rupp, the two actors, will be the executive producers.
Okay.
So they've obviously wanted some creative control over what's happening.
Oh, you say that, but I mean, executive producer just means your name's on the
money.
Board.
Have money to do the show.
Yeah. It could be interesting. I didn't mind that 80s show either too much, but it didn't catch on as well as the 70s.
But 80s was still fun to watch.
Yeah.
And 90s will it'll be fun to watch because it'll be like, haha.
Speak.
I grew up then.
All of the Nirvana and that playing in the background.
Yeah, it's taking place in 1995. So
okay, 5.
So think back to what you were doing in 1995.
I was in grade 2.
So maybe not being in your parents' basements.
No. But do you think that they'll I wonder if they'll broach it, sort of thing. But when they get to 99 and have a season finale be someone getting caught in 9/11 or something like that.
Got it. Mostly because they've sort of hinted that the storyline is her just visiting them for a summer kind of thing.
Okay.
So I don't think it's going to just. Who knows? Maybe it'll really catch on and they'll keep going.
There's no the sort of current climate of things, etc.
It's actually just going to be an edgy the world is a harsh, cold place, melodrama, comedy show.
Yeah. I think that could be still fun. They've got again kind of heart and soul of heart, I would say, of the first series, but it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, no, definitely. There's also rumors of a lot of the other actors coming back, but nothing confirmed yet, of course.
Yeah, I mean, you would expect Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis to arrive and
Yeah. He's one of those people that just he hears about it and you can't keep him away. But yeah, okay. How are you getting past Red? He's he's your true rival.
Oh no, I like Red.
Exactly. That's why you can't bring yourself to beat him because he's a good character.
Oh, I like the color. But I don't mind him either. So within it. Ooh. Okay. Trying to my that 70s show knowledge is fading on me and in there it's been a while.
It feels like it's been 20 years since the show came out.
Well, I mean how would you you'd have to take him out for a beer or something and just be
on Victory Road, there's no beer places here.
It's Victory Road, Greg. There must be beer places out here. What happens after you celebrate after you've won?
You get a free train ticket back to Easeltown.
Trying to think of if there's anything that I've collected in many news headlines that I would be able to just be hey.
True. I mean, you do have a lot of junk.
It's true. I offer my Segway.
Yeah, he's like, what even is this? Do your kids not walk anymore? What's wrong with you?
No. Yeah, you just stand on it and go away. Just get him on it to demonstrate, and then let him not be able to know how to control it and just like disappear off into the horizon on it.
Can't even convince him to stand on it. Like,
Really?
ain't never gonna stand on that thing. I'm not making it easy because it's a boss fight.
But you haven't even let me prepare.
That is the nature of news headlines. If you knew what was coming, it'd be really...
I warn him that Netflix is going to pull his thing before he gets to the end of his second season.
He's like, what even is a Netflix? You can't just make stuff up. You kids.
It's the internet, and I introduce him to the internet.
Don't care.
And all the sports that he can watch on it.
Ooh, sports thing. Okay, yeah, that's a weakness of Red's.
Yeah.
How are you introducing him to it?
Let's go through like an ESPN or like no, Red's progressive. Enough. It's weird. He kind of like toes that line. But put him on to all the results of all the Super Bowls. And then introduce him to my subscription to the WWE network.
On what? Your phone or something?
Yeah.
Well, I've got that
smart Pokedex.
That's
thing.
not a phone. Phone is something you call someone on.
Ooh. Do I have? No, we never got one of those sort of like thing. The CRT screen. It can just be like, duh.
Yeah. Okay, so you call it a CRT screen.
Yeah.
Flat CRT scrreen.
Yes.
And hand it over to...
There are many tubes on the inside.
Yes.
All of the YouTubes.
You eventually convince him to watch a show. But you have to leave your mini CRT screen with him as you segue on into the building of the elite triangular.
I'm gonna have to prepare for next week.
And you better prepare for next week. That was a taste of the first boss.
Oh no!
But you have succeeded, and now we must face the final fight next week. Well, next week. Whatever our schedule is. Next show.
Next show.
But yeah, so that brings us to the end of Wild News Headline.
Mm-hmm.
And let's mosey on over to our main topic for the night.
Indeed.
Nice.
Completely unrelated with Warhammer 40k Nationals, which were
indeed.
a month ago now almost.
So you did quite well though in Nationals.
Yeah, I had a chance of winning it. Very slim.
You were this close to greatness.
Yeah.
And
last matchup was a very much I throw scissors and they throw rock, a very big rock.
A rock full of Daka.
Yeah, so much Daka
and wheels. Yeah, so it was a good old double tournament. If you watched our last episode, we discussed the road leading up to it. And,
yeah. Although we got our missions completely mixed up in our prep for it, which was hilarious. So I'm sure you ended up doing it as well, but playing like the first mission and the last mission was the same mission for you.
Yep. So what happened was in the mission pack, they printed it in order that the missions are written in the book, not in the order that the missions are taking place on the day.
Yes.
So I think actually about 80% of the people played the wrong mission for the first.
Yeah, I think so. Like looking over, like people were like, "Oh, are you doing that?" And we were like, "We're already deployed like this. Are you going to change?" No.
I already finished my game by the time someone was like, "What mission did you play?" By the way, it's like, "Yeah, we had a great game of blah."
That wasn't one. Whatever. It was still fun. So saying that there, and also base code pairings was a good choice of being able to use. Made a big difference for actually getting through a lot of the things. Also just making pairings quite quick.
Like that. Don't even have to stress over it.
Yeah.
So yeah, who did you face for your first game that was the wrong mission?
It was, I always forget his name, Brett. And his lovely Iron Hands? Yeah,
Iron
it's just
Hands,
Iron
yeah.
Hands.
Purple
It's just
Iron
like
Hands.
just all of the dreadnoughts. And
Mm.
unfortunately, he got stuck in a spiral with me, and I
Oh,
just outpaced the spiral around
yes,
the board.
spiral.
Yeah. Although also it was interesting because like my list was very much a good counter to his because it would just be like, oh, your horrible Volkite Redemptor murders a unit, but I'll just keep putting a new unit on that point that you keep
Mm-hmm.
murdering every
Mm-hmm.
turn, and just keep on doing that. Also had Celestine like pop off on his Redemptors.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, that was great. Like she took one from full wounds down to one in one round of attack. I was like, what? How? What was this?
Since when can you do this?
Yeah, like rolled. I don't know how many sixes on the attack there, so like so many mortal wounds. We're just like, oh, well, that's nice.
Well, it's nice
But
to see you getting a good punch in.
yeah, yeah, and yeah, I put up banners and just kind of, as I say, like we got into the typical ninth ed spiral, and I just shoved like 90% of my army up one flank and just let Celestine kind of play with the dreadnoughts on the other. And unfortunately for him, he stood back one too many turns.
You had
And
the strongest spiral energy.
yeah, my drill
Heavens.
pierced the heavens. Yeah.
Possibly.
Well, I finished with a very good score there. I think I finished with like 94 or something like that. So it was a good game for me. And like we did kind of get close to the time limit in the end there, sort of like thing. But we like just were like, oh, let's just discuss the last round, sort of that thing, because
especially in ninth ed, I find it's a lot easier in ninth ed to discuss out the last turn.
Yeah, because I mean, like, there's certain things you're like, okay, well, these are the points that are available. Are they doable for what I've got left? What's important? Okay, can I kill that? Let's just roll the dice for that. Done.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it's nice. And I mean, it was a good game. Lovely opponent. Didn't like have any like sort of like gotchas or anything like that. Wasn't there? I was also aided. We had like a massive piece of line of side blocking terrain on the right flank.
Okay.
And I could just be like, cool, one turn of hiding, and then just begin the spiral. So yeah.
Well, speaking of massive pieces of line of sight blocking,
Yes.
my first game was against Deathwing, right?
Yeah.
With just all of the Deathwing Terminators, and I had all of the Depth Guard Terminators.
Yes.
And it was a slugfest, and on the board it was that board with like the massive castle walls that just blocked everywhere.
Yes, yeah.
So we literally just had this massive slugfest of like and nobody killing anything the whole time.
Yeah.
And we eventually ground each other down, and I came out on top. Just with a little bit of also spiral positioning worked out a bit better for me because
Did they do that Deathwing secondary where they just sit on the one objective with the objective secured and score 15?
Like I tried to stop him because I had a King Terminator team that would go in and try and stop him, but he actually screened quite well against them, and I had to take out some melter bikes on the way before I could get there, and by then he'd scored it. So it's like, well,
it's like such a guarantee with their like. They're one of the armies, like Deathwing in particular, not like the other like Ravenwing or Greenwing. Like it's definitely Deathwing. But I'm like, this seems pretty strong. But I think it was like mentioned by like some of the guys that came up from Cape Town and stuff there, because we were playing on the bigger boards, that army could do so much better because it could just sit in the back lines and be like, well, it's gonna take it forever to get to me.
Well, yes, but actually no, in that it's a very slow army.
Yeah, but no, that's the thing, Greg. It just sits on the back, particularly for that first mission, because you just sit at the back, raise banners, and put the one thing on the objective, and you're like, cool. You have to come to me, and otherwise I'm going to max out 2 of my secondaries.
Well, yeah, he pushed his Mega Death Star forward of the Knight Terminators.
Black Knights.
No, the Shields and Deathwing.
Yeah. I think the Deathwing Knights. Yeah, Deathwing Knights.
Yeah. I'm sure they got a better name than that, but
no, it's Deathwing Knights.
It sounds so lame.
I know.
And I managed to like just point my entire army, even with the damage reduction and everything. It held on for a long time, but
it's strong, like, no doubt.
Godzilla.
I think that the problem with that unit is just like not being able to transhuman. Hurts it a lot.
No, they're permanent transhuman.
Hey? Oh no, they do. Hey.
Yeah. The whole army is just transhuman all the time.
Yeah. It does hurt that like
Yeah.
unit. Well, mortal wounds, obviously.
Yeah.
I
Well,
assume
actually,
he, I
what it
assume he
was,
had a nasty apothecary with them,
so
or
he had the nasty apothecary, and he had the nasty chaplain that was giving them a 5 of feel no pain to mortal wounds and stuff.
yeah.
So all my other tricks to try and whittle them down wasn't working. So I actually plague skulled the chaplain.
Mm,
And just like mega mortal wounded him down. So
no
that he lost.
prayers for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had assassinate, so I was like, well,
Oh, well, that works. Yeah. Well,
enjoy this
especially when
one
there's like,
big skull.
it's the most interesting thing to me is like, because there's a lot of armies that assassinate's a really good thing if you can get on the front foot against them.
Yeah.
Because if that army got on the front foot, like you're not getting those assassinate points.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can kind of get on the front foot and then get there, you're getting your assassinate.
Yeah. But yeah, also a good victory for me, high scoring. But I think that probably the nature of that mission to be quite a high scoring mission.
It is. It was. I mean, like I think there were quite a few people who's finished over 90 for that mission. So yeah. Because I mean, it's a hold one, hold two. The one that everyone played is the hold one, hold two, and quite big board edges, and very good for like just putting down banners or doing like things that'll just like zone control and score you big points. So yeah, a good one. Second game, I then played against Keegan. So at the beginning of my Warzone, well, I mean, I had already started my Warzone push, but the continuation of my Dome must prove himself as Warzone player sort of thing there. So it was against Keegan, who was using Knights with like a little patrol of Mechanicum. And he was using a Crusader, which is that one with the two guns. Frame, and then there's a whole crap ton of armigers. So there was like I think like kind of like 4 Helverins and 2 Red Hellblades. I can never remember what the imperial name of them is.
Yeah, I know which one.
And then he had like, as I say, like just the Helverin are the ones that have the shooty guns.
The gun guns. Okay.
Yeah.
Armigers. They're armigers.
Armigers, yeah. So like. There, unfortunately, there was like just this massive piece of terrain in the middle. It was just this massive warehouse with just tons of line of sight blocking. So I could just be like, well, most of my army's just going to sit back here. And then picked, like, it was also one where there's only like 2 objectives in no man's land. So there's a lovely secondary for the sisters, just playing Sisters Battle, that you tell your opponent, pick one of the objectives. And as long as I'm on it at the end of my turn, I score 3 points. So he picked one. I was just like, well, that's where my army rotates through, sort of like thing. So it's pretty easy to score quite highly. Also, again, the MSU versus Knights is not a good matchup for the Knights because it's like my 2 models take that objective off of you.
Yeah. Thank you, Giant Knight. I'm going to stand exactly 3.1 inches away and take the objective.
Yeah, and next turn, I'm gonna just do it again. So yeah, it was an interesting one with there. Also, like start of the game, like just it's the only game that my Dominions and my like Retributors stayed alive for a good while because they got out behind line of sight blocking on the one side of the map and were just like Melta, destroy a poor little armiger, and then kind of make their way through. And more involved was also interesting. It was annoying. He was playing that I think it's House Raven who have that get back up after you kill the knight. So I killed the knight and he made his 4 up and got back up again. So just like but overall pretty good. I think the terrain hurt him very badly in that matchup, and also just it was a very strong matchup for me because of MSU. So another highest point scoring one for me. But Keegan's a really good opponent, like lots of fun, like chilled, but knows his stuff as well. So
yeah, it helps a lot when your opponent knows what's going on to move quickly.
Yeah, exactly. Just be like, well, I'll shoot here, and they're like, well, I know I got a 5 up against this, so I'll just go there and knows how much damage they're taking, etc., etc. So
my second game was against the player who brought Pure Demons, and he was fielding Be'lakor with 2 Keepers of Secrets and Great and Clean one.
Yeah.
Lots of big demons and lots of little demons to just chaff block.
Yeah, I mean, like if you're playing Pure Demons, you're either playing like Pure Siege and just going for mind bullets, or you're playing a Slanesh or a
he also had a Lord of Change as well.
Wow, that's a lot of big demons.
Yeah. There's a lot of big demons. And I also found out firsthand how tanky Be'lakor is, even without the Be'lakor key like detachment thing. So it couldn't reduce my damage and that jazz, but still, just the like all of those
-1 to be hit, and
it's also like -1 to wound and stuff.
Yes,
and
all sorts of nonsense. So.
And then a 4-up invul, and then so he just tanked everything on my first turn. But I did manage to sort of outmaneuver him a bit, and then deep struck my big Terminator unit in his backlines and just held his objective, which was the name of the game for that mission, I think. Was
one of the things that you could do. It was like hold 2 in the middle, and then if you take their one, it was with like 4 every turn you had it, which was crazy.
Be'lakor did chop up my poor little scooty boys. Because he just ignores invuls. So he's
no invuls and AP minus bajillion and just
Thankfully, one survived and scooted away to the last.
Nice,
and then I managed to take down. Like as soon as Be'lakor died, all his other greater demons just started dying left, right, and center.
Nice.
And actually, the main thing that was killing them were my zombies. Because I just
mortal wounds.
And then do the mortal wounds thing.
Yeah.
Would just take a whole lot of mortal wounds and be like, why? And then actually normal wounds as well, because there's just so many. Like it doesn't matter like a 4-up invul.
Yeah, exactly. It's how you drown those sort of things out. It's just like weight of
zombie claw. It was a fun game as well. He really knew his stuff. Using clever tricks of like making Be'lakor use corn stratagems and stuff, and like
you have to if you're going to play a demons list. Like they're not a particularly strong army in the 9th edition, so
and it was a close game, but I did pull ahead at the end thanks to the fact that he didn't quite. I mean, he sort of screened his back objective, plague walker guys, but my Terminators just ate them alive.
Our plague is stronger than your plague.
But it was close enough that at the end of the game, I thought I might lose, but I managed to just pull it at the end of more objective points or whatever at the very end, and be like, whew! Mostly because of his forward deploying Nurglings.
Yeah, they're very good.
Objectives straight at the beginning, and it took me a while to get there because I'm
not tricksy like they are.
Not fast.
No, unfortunately. Is there a stratagem for Death Guard to bury their zombies upfield or anything like that?
You just got to outflank with them, I guess. Which maybe I should have considered doing actually, but never came to mind. I just rely on the Terminators popping in where I needed them to destroy, and everything else is mortars and a wall of unstoppable force slowly advancing across the board.
Sounds like a very Death Guard strategy. Third game was an interesting one because it was a lot of objectives, if I remember correctly. I got to go up against Grey Knights, which I didn't. I got tabled every time playing against my warm-up games, and it's pretty much the exact list that you used. So yes, you had trained me, but it was interesting with it because I knew what to expect because of that, and also Andrew doesn't roll as many 4-ups as you do for his Grandmasters and Dread Knights.
That's right. Cool of Bridget.
No. So it was interesting. He also took that objective where you have to cast the psychic power on the objectives, and depending on how many you do that on the objectives, you score points.
Sure. Yeah.
And I built my list to do the 5-up deny, and I was just like, no. So there was a lot of clutch sort of things. He scored big on the first turn of it, but that required him doing a shunt of one of the Dread Knights up board and all sorts of things. And then after that, I was just like, okay, move up onto objectives that you couldn't shunt anymore, and then just deny like a demon.
It's your turn to roll 5-ups.
So I was interesting. Also, I think Andrew's a very good player, but hadn't played in the new edition and hadn't played with the Grey Knights very much. So while they are a strong army, there's little subtle things like knowing when to shift out of your tide that you need to remember, and he stayed in the tide of shadows for the entire game. So didn't get that extra melee close combat damage, which it made a huge difference because he had a strike squad go into my Canoness, and my Canoness tanked for 2 turns and was okay, I kill you now. So
Yeah, and he'd done mortals.
yeah, if he had done mortals, she would have been very dead very quickly. So there was a couple of things like that that kind of swung things. Also, him not knowing how horrible Repentia are.
Ah, yes, that is a hard lesson to learn.
It is, but once you learn it, you know
Yeah,
it.
you will die now before they engage me. Or I
Mm.
will throw something into them to slow them down, and then they will die.
Yeah, it's also the only game of mine that Celestine didn't get back up again.
Oh
And it was like
no!
swung it bigly for me because she had gone up the one flank, kind of cleared it, and I was like, cool. She now gets to go and take on Draco, hopefully murder him, and no, she just did refuse to get up again. So
Statistically, about right because we're playing.
yeah, once in a tournament. So yeah.
So,
Yeah. So it was a bit of a pain, but still managed to get it in the end. I fortunately went second as well, so final turn could just be like 15 points because I got enough units, and I had also taken raise the banners, so I could score that for an extra few points in the end as well. Yeah. Well, there's the thing with like it's also interesting because you can do it with characters. So, like my Canoness, like after killing the strike squad to get the objective back from them, from being objective secured, was like banner. So yeah, but a lot of fun. Also came down like it was quite close. I think annoyingly, and I think like it was one of the things Andrew and like I mean you've spoken about it as well. It's just purge a Boar Witch. Which just, oh man, that objective just hurts that army
it's
so
like
much.
The different
like,
thing of guaranteed points, right?
Yeah.
Against Greenlights, Purge the Witch.
Yeah, it was just like if I'm winning, I'm getting those points, and I maxed it out, like, and some. But yeah, I also got lucky with like a last turn, just 2 missiles into Drago, standing on a point and being like, well, you failed 2 saves, and I know you can reroll one of them, but there's this miracle dice with the exact number of wounds that he has left just here. Yeah,
it's a miracle.
It is a miracle. But yeah, so it was a tough game. I mean, it always is. I think Andrew's like one of the top guys up here. So yeah, just a little bit more practice, and I think that would have been a very much difficult game.
Yeah, speaking of difficult games, I played against Custodes in my. This was my first loss. Spoilers. Because it was one of those games where just no matter what, he would always roll his invulnerables, and I just couldn't like I played enough swirly swirl to keep it level, but I couldn't do enough damage to any of these things to slow him down.
It's a pain with there because I mean like it just takes a bike captain making his 3-ups, or that one squad of guard on or whatever point just being like, yeah, we've still got the guy with the shield, so we're still getting our 3-ups, and we don't care that you're doing D3 plus 3 damage with whatever gun. We're just gonna hold off,
And that stratagem to reduce the strength of shots is very
good. It is. And I mean, like especially like particularly Charles has listed like a lot of like Telemons and some of the relic contemptors as well.
So my mortars, which would normally with the entropy cannons and mortars focusing fire, which should have taken down a Telemon. And what I would do is I'd coax it out on the one.
Yes, and then fire at the other.
Shoot at the other one. But as a result, I had to keep splitting my fire. Yeah. And that just ended up in 2 still alive Telemons at the end of the game walking around cleaning up.
Yeah. Doing their job.
maybe it wasn't the right call. Maybe I should have just kept focusing, even though it was like...
Plasma strength is such a pain, though, within there. So, I don't know. To me, like, it's almost that you have to ignore the Telemons and kind of just go after the other dreads instead. But it's difficult because Telemons are Telemons.
And my army's too slow to do that because they can always catch up to me.
Yeah.
So, and I could slow them down with zombies and stuff, but then they just slaughter the zombies.
Oh, well, they do, because I mean, like, they've got that horrible Telemon phased, like, plasma flamer things.
In shooting, it's just like, well, the zombie squad is gone, and now I can charge something else. Like, what?
Yeah. And they're all, like, penitent, like, dreadnoughts. They're all re-rolling their charges.
All re-rolling charges.
I said, like, at the tournament, and I still hold it as, like, if I could bring any army that possible with like any sort of models and stuff, I would have brought like very similar to that Custodes list because it's just a very strong like 9th ed, and for that tournament, I think a very strong choice for it as well. So
Yeah, you should have just asked me. I would have lent you. I pretty much have all those. I don't have two Telemons. I only have one.
I mean, I would have only brought one, but I would have had like.
I do have
I
more
don't think you've got enough of the contempted rates.
I've got 2 Shieldy boys and 1 Speary boy.
Ooh, that would have been like the combo.
Yeah.
But how many Sagittarium do you have?
Those are the ones with the
bolter disintegrators. Yeah,
I've only got 5, so that's where I'd be a little bit short. But I've got a lot of normal Guardian
and Venatari.
Venatari none, but I want to kit bash some using probably Sigmarines. I think it's sort of been on my projects list, but I haven't really ever gotten there. One day, because I'm certainly not buying the Forge World ones for £1 million.
You need like 5 of them, so it's just
well, even more possibly.
I mean, it depends on what the codex does for them, but
yeah, it's true. It's true. That's pretty much what I'm waiting for. Is
so I'm kind of looking at the golden boys and being like, I like painting gold,
and they are very easy to get into because it's a few model investments.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just the Forge World thing in there. But I mean, the Forge World models look so cool as well.
They do. And they are cool, and they're fun to play with, which is
cool. Exactly. So.
But yeah,
that closed out the first day one, and
I was very tired after that day.
I'm sure. I was as well after that last game against Andrew. Like, it's brain drain to kind of keep there, and like looked at the list for the next day, and like of the undefeated players, it was like, there's 2 orc lists with the freebooters that just look horrible, and that are like pretty much very hard counter to my list. But
I'll count it to most.
There's some, but not like at that tournament that could like take it. Like the Knights would have like laughed that list off entirely. It's been like strength 6 guns.
I think I wouldn't have done too badly against them either, to be honest. Like because a lot of it guns are damage 2, and I'm just like, the damage 1 for me.
But yeah, like so it was interesting. Like so, like already started fretting it. Knew that I was gonna have to play one of them at least the next day, sort of thing. So like started going through of like, okay, how am I gonna do this? And yeah, true as well. I went against Sean, and the first thing and the next thing to round out my Warzone opponents, and he was using his freebooters. Like his was a lot less tilted than the other freebooter list, so much like it had a lot of buggies, but didn't have as many Darker Jets.
Yeah.
And we practiced before. Like I'd seen the list in its like first iteration, and it had tabled me. So I was like, I know what to do this time, sort of like thing. So fortunately, had like a decent line of sight blocking. Got first turn, didn't kill a single thing, which was just like, okay, well, I'm going to struggle with this. I did that one with the shrine again to be like, well, that pick a thing. He picked one as the shrine, and I was like, well, that's where everything's going, which was fine because that's where everything of his had to go at that point as well, and that's what I wanted because that lets Morven Val get into close combat. And yeah, her managing to get into close combat and a very like. I missed a charge at one point to kind of tie a whole bunch of buggies together, and fortunately, Sean being a nice guy sort of thing within it was like, okay, and maybe roll for it, but got the roll and got it in. Managed to prevent a lot of shooting at targets that he wanted to shoot at. And then, Morven Val into buggies is just...
buggies.
Yeah, no, she does. She clears the unit of 3 by herself pretty easily. So there happened a little bit of that. The prevention of the shooting kind of kept me in the game on the one flank. And it was also that game where if you were on the objective during your command phase, it was your objective. And because of that, like my one flank got completely decimated, but I had like maybe 2 units on that flank, so it was fine. They had taken the objective, so that just started ticking up for me. And the game came down to like a 2-point difference or something silly. So it was a very close, very hotly contested one, which I knew it was going to be a very serious uphill battle for me. And as I say, I got lucky with some of the stuff in there, which was good, but also better target prioritizing because of having seen the list before.
So the moral of the story for you from this event is always practice against Warzone people.
yeah, clearly. I mean, it's always the thing with there, because like it was the other thing, I got tabled in, I think, 80% of my warm-up games. So I didn't win a single one. So it was a thing of like being like, okay, I have learnt and I now know the way. Yeah. So yeah, that was a really tough. But I mean, like we finished with like an hour to spare or something silly.
Ooh, last game.
So yeah, I think one of those things of us both knowing what the capabilities of every unit was. So oftentimes you'd be like, "I shoot that," and I was just like, "Well, that unit's gone," and I'd be like, "Well, I attack that," and he'd be like, "Well, that unit's gone." So a lot back and forth with that. But yeah.
Yeah, my first Sunday game was against Drukari. And it was actually a very similar list to what I would have brought if I'd played Drukari, except
Yeah.
he had some interesting changes
Yeah, that's like
in witch cult choice. He like
yeah.
witch cults into 2 witch cults,
Mm,
which actually worked out really well for him. It was a great choice in his list
yeah.
because the Cult of Strife, I think, are the other ones. I gave him like extra strength and stuff.
No. Cult of Strife is the one that everyone takes, and then there's Cult of the
Cursed
Unyielding
Blade.
Blade,
Yeah,
something like
something
that. Yeah.
Um,
It was actually interesting because I was chatting to him after the
Mhm.
end of the first day, and like he was saying that the only reason that cult was because he initially had Lilith in the list, and that's her cult, and then his friend looked at it and was like, "Why are you spending 160 points when you can spend 80 points for something that's more effective?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, you're right." So yeah.
Well, you know what? It worked out for him because there were plenty of instances where their rule triggered and the Cult of Strife wouldn't have.
Yeah.
So I was like, I see why they're in the list now.
Also having 2 show stealers is bloody nasty.
Well, witches in general, succubuses in general are.
Yeah.
But actually, they didn't do much against me because I've played Drukari, so I know exactly sort of how to deal with them. But he did manage to outmaneuver me pretty well. I couldn't keep
The
up.
thing of the Drukari, though, I mean, he had like 5 raiders or something?
Yeah, I think it was even 6 raiders. And the problem was, so I know that raiders are key to keeping Drukari mobile. Try to focus them down first turn, and everything just bounced off. Like
Night shields.
Yeah, pretty much. Like I don't know what it was, but he just was rolling really hot, and I didn't kill a single one of the raiders. I was like, well, I already lost one game, so
yeah.
But I still had a lot of fun, and it was a really great game, and it was a very close game. Like literally, once again, came down to like that last sort of turn plays, and yeah. I enjoyed it, and it was great to see because I think there was like one of the only Drukari players there, which is
there was only one Drukari. Like it was interesting to see because it was like there was only one sisters list, one Drukari list. It's kind of like and no Mechanicus lists. So it's just with like
weird.
What is going on here?
Yeah, and then we go on to final round.
So I was at that point one of 2 undefeated players.
Yeah, on the top table.
Of course, it would be Freebooter list number 2, which was a very skew list.
Hyper optimized Freebooters.
Yeah, like just 3 Dark Jets. So just all the Doom, smaller bulky like squads. So I don't know, like it felt Sean's one was a lot more horrible to face sometimes because like 3 rockets in like what's it, Dark Jets or Ramshack Scrap Jets was a pain, but this guy had 2 squads of 2, which and also out of line sliding shots, which was also a pain because you can't just kind of hide or whatever.
Yeah.
So we got it interesting. Like we saw the board. Unfortunately, it was the same board that he had just played on. But Ashley down from like Cape Town was really decent sort of thing of it. Like he was like, I don't want to play a game where I just shoot you off the board sort of like thing. Let's at least make it a bit. So we adjusted all the terrain with the deployment to be like, okay, there's enough line of sight blocking, so there's at least some things that will survive first turn if the orcs get their first turn. We deployed, and he got first turn and shot like most of my army off the board.
Right as the Valkyries just played, and these flew over the horizon.
Yeah, like I think, and we've discussed it with like the orc players and everything with them there. It's just that first turn speed walk, just. It's so much. It's just so much, and like just the extra AP and just everything, and particularly against sisters in the Dark Jets, they all strength 6 guns. So you're like, oh well, we're running on 2s, and all the sisters are just like, I guess my 5-girl squad over there is dead, even if they're hitting on 5s. So and it went like weirdly, and I loved it. So I deployed and I put all of my Repentia on as forward as they could. And he was like, you really don't like them? And I was like, you don't know my Repentia. And they were the last units to die. So yeah, it was an interesting one. Very difficult. Like as I say, like
it was a tough matchup.
Yeah, and he had prepared against Sisters while down in Cape Town. Apparently, there's a guy who's using a very similar list, and his list had been built very much to defeat that. So there was a lot of like, oh, well, this is going to be difficult. And also, he played like you could see exactly the game plan that he had. He was like, cool, I've played against Sisters, I know this, I'm going to put this unit exactly the distance that your scout move and multi-melters cannot reach them. And I will put my jet exactly at the range that Morvenval can't shoot them after moving. And I will put things like very exactly. I was fortunate in that like I managed to place my guys that his jets couldn't fly over me on the first turn. But that was still more than enough to just clean out the front lines and stuff and to make sure that I couldn't follow
If anything, it blocks you in because you can't like.
And then also like I had like my like Zephyrum go into one of the Ducker jets, and the Ducker was just like he like overwatched and like he got something like 26s in the Overwatch. It was just ridiculous. We were both just like, oh, well, it's not the Sisters' day today. So yeah. Also did like probably the most brutally efficient like getting rid of Celestine I like in the entire tournament. She like went into one thing, killed it, and then like the next thing was just like, okay, I shoot her dead, and then I charge her and mortal wound her dead after that. Just using the natural vehicles like some mortal wounding potential. So it was very like, well, that was yeah. But surprising little like it was weird just seeing Repentia hold out for as long as they did. A couple of like other units just held and could like kind of hold some things and hide enough to get some points. But yeah, pretty much as soon as he got first turn and with that list, it was kind of like a well, it's uphill. I can like try and reduce your points here a little bit. That's about it.
It's gonna do much, yeah.
Nah. So I think he maxed out his points against me, and yeah, that was it. Also, I also always love it like when you like they like ask, and I'm like, yeah, just take assassinate. And the person's like, but why? I'm like, because this one unit right
this unit's worth like 12.
It's 9 points right there. So yeah, it's interesting. Like that Black Templars. The Grimaldus.
The Grimaldus, that's it. Yeah.
He's worth 12.
As well.
Yeah, because he's got 3 attendants with him that are all character as well.
Good to know. Makes no for IT.
Yeah. So I don't think because of that I don't think he's going to see much play, unfortunately. But
you never know. Like,
you never know. Real cool, man. Real cool.
12 isn't so bad. It's not 15. It's no Ball the Witch.
Yeah, but I mean, like
that's just like the characters and you're fine.
Oh, I mean, yeah, 1,000 points that's doable, but but yeah. So after that, like I was clear that I was not going to like finish very well. So like things in there dropped from like
pretty well.
I finished 5th, 4th,
3rd. I thought you came 3rd.
No, I got knocked. I was there, and then Orion took up the next spot up.
Oh, you got pushed a little bit further.
Yeah. So I got pushed down there. So like Sean won his game in the follow up and got pushed up higher.
Yeah.
He like was playing against Necrons and just kind of wiped them out in the second turn. It's just like, oh well, they're all gone now. So yeah, free booters, man, free booters. Quite a nasty thing in a meta up here where we didn't have like necessarily the big blobs of Mechanicus who are all like, you only wound us on 4s, or we don't care about your AP -2, or all those kinds of nonsense. We just shoot down all
your planes.
Yeah, exactly. So the meta was there and ripe for the freebooter lists, and it's not to say that it's not a good list or an army that like thing. Anyone who's on the top tables or etc., you have to play and you have to be very smart and you have to be intelligent to play.
No, they knew what they were doing playing this.
But like the freebooters at the moment feel very much like the Tau and Marine armies of 7th Ed, and that they are point and click. It's okay, I need to kill one thing, and then the rest of my army is just point and that dies. And you have to know what you need to point at, and that's where the sort of thing comes in.
But it is a very strong.
In comparison to the Mechanicus at the moment, or the Sisters, or like the Space Marines that do okay, it's like your command phase is just this like. You need to move everything so perfectly to everywhere.
You need like a flow chart to be
exactly. So I think it's actually one of the better tournament lists sort of thing, because like you're not having to go through all of that. You know what you need to do. You're just kind of repeating, and you're not having to put as much strain, sort of like thing on a lot of stuff. So yeah, a good list. Both of the freeboot lists were just a bit nasty for there, and yeah, I think in the end, good games all round. There was only that last one where I felt like I was like, oh well, I've got no chance after that initial turn roll sort of thing. So
it didn't feel like a game, more like a slaughter.
Yeah, like I don't know, with ninth, it's always interesting because if you can try point some models and stuff, you can actually claw back a lot of like points, but you can only do that so far.
Yeah.
What about your last game?
Yeah, my last game was a nice chill game because we were in the upper middle bracket, but still we were chill. I was against Tyranids. Really well painted Tyranids army, and the only other army that had like custom 3D prints in it, which was they were using Starship Trooper bugs for gaunts.
I did see that. It was quite cool. I liked that picture the guys put together afterwards with the IG.
Oh yeah.
That's quite cool.
It didn't go in his favor that I know exactly how the NID machine works.
Where's your exocrine? Okay.
We get 2 creams, pretty standard. Yeah. There's the one with the invol, cool. There's your Diamond.
Have you brought 2? Okay, only one.
You only had one. It's 4 model. It's acceptable.
Yeah.
He did have the cool brain bug that reduces wounds.
Yes.
I haven't really seen that played as much before. I've been wanting to try it myself, so it was nice to see it in action.
Yeah.
And the Depth Guard just sort of slowly marched forward and killed everything in waves as they charged at me.
That's what they do. It's a difficult matchup for the NIDs in that particular one because like your big damage guns are not good against those big bugs. Rather, the big bugs are not good against them.
Yeah.
And then their hordes are not as good as your hordes.
Yeah, my zombie horde, even though with Gene Stealer Assault, was just into a zombie wall.
Well, the problem there is they're really good at wounding you probably, but it's 1 damage. So it's a 5 or 6.
I mean, I even afforded to lose 10 zombies, but then I immediately killed 10 Gene Stealers and gained 10 zombies.
Yes. Exactly. So,
and the one thing that did surprise me was he'd taken the adaptation on a big blob of warriors, which I haven't used well because I'm so sad because my warriors have the Forge World wings.
Oh, okay.
Which makes them Shrikes, which is no longer a unit you can field.
Yeah.
since the 8th Ed Codex. So I've been really sad to field them. Because they're just warriors now with wings that do nothing.
Yeah, except for make them easier to shoot.
Yeah, they make them easier to shoot. Hooray. And he gave them the adaptation to ignore AP 1 and 2, which I normally give to my Hive Guard.
Yeah.
On the warrior blob, I found out the Depth Guard have only AP 1 and 2 weapons.
Yeah. Outside of the entropy guns, it's 1 and 2. So.
Yeah. And I needed the entropy to deal with his big bugs, right? Yeah. So I couldn't shoot them at the warriors. So the warriors were actually very good on the one flank, except for my little Scooty Bug beetle crabs.
Yes.
Who deal with the Dimechicahedron, so they couldn't fight the warriors either.
Yeah.
So I was impressed with that warrior blob. It worked well.
Nice.
Very tough.
Yeah, that ignore AP -1 -2 is actually deceptively good. Learned that in the previous edition just with the crisis suit with that experimental
airburst frag.
And then also for
Ardent Shroud, with the banner.
Yeah, who just with the banner and they'd be like, well, we ignore -1 -2.
Very good.
Pretty good. So yeah.
Yeah, but overall, so it was a victory for me in the end, placing me 9th or something.
Yeah, you were in the top 10 there. So
I remember I was at 7, and I was like, "Yes, Nurgle 7, keep me there, keep me there."
Yes, and they were the custodians were just like, no.
Is acceptable to me.
Just clearly just the signs you should have been playing Thousand Suns, Greg.
Exactly, right? Yeah. Although my Thousand Suns aren't painted. I mean, I've started painting some Terminators, and I forgot how much of a pain it is to paint Thousand Suns.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
That's
just do if you rather do the NMM and use the Dune color
yeah,
and
I am. It's still taking forever. Like
just
we,
don't bother with the lines. Just be like, it's all yellow or
well, I
all
mean,
athematic blue and
I've seen a
done.
lot of people do. They do it all that like spectral green, and they're
Yeah.
like, it's a ghost
Ooh,
army.
with the cult of ghosts.
Cult of
Yeah.
Ghosts, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'll see. I still haven't decided what I'm playing for Into the Fray. I don't know if you've
Yeah.
going.
I'm like seeing it's on a weekend that we might be going away, but we'll
Mm.
see. If that's not the case, I might just bring Death Watch and bring that new Army of Legend because I think it's
It
really
looks fun.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, it's just like such a. It feels like such a horrible list to kind of like just have lots of knowledge and thinking and stuff with it, which
Yeah.
sounds like my kind of list.
Perfect.
Why do I do this to myself?
Um,
But yeah,
and yeah, so I might bring Thousand Suns or I might bring Tyranids. Well, I'm going to read through the new
new
Tyranids
Kraken stuff. Yeah.
and then decide.
It seemed interesting. Like I liked like that was the warrior one where they no the Carnifex one where they're just like there's a Carnifex upgrade where you just go, oh, there's Scything Talons, ignore Invul saves.
Oh yes, I was thinking of putting that on a Hive Lord guy, the big fly boy.
Yeah.
And
I
then
think that
you can also give him an adaptation that gives it +1 strength and AP.
can you stack that with because that's an adaptation itself, so I don't think you can.
No, it's not an adaptation. I think that's a stratagem, isn't it? The new one.
No, the new one is like it's like the things you have in the. I think it is an adaptation specific to Kraken.
Is it a Kraken adaptation?
Yeah.
They've only done.
Oh, is it? Oh no, Leviathan. Yeah, sorry, it's Leviathan. It's Leviathan adaptation.
Okay, well, I'll see once I've got the book out what shenanigans I can get up to.
Yeah, I'm sure there's like tons of little things in there.
Because it might be a warlord trait, not an adaptation, which is different.
No, I'm pretty sure it was because I was like, oh yeah, no, on Carnifexes, and then they were like even more distraction Carnifexy because.
I'll kill you by captain in one go.
Well, no, I'll kill your blade guard in one go.
I'll kill you anything in one go. Just charge me. Crab people,
crab people. Yes.
Well, my Anyways. Painted, so
yeah.
Most of my turns is like gene stealers and stuff, and
alternatively, it's like quick to paint. In my experience, you know, it's like the carapace and then the body, and you're done.
Unless you do the crab.
Oh no, yeah, that one's silly. The coconut crab one. Oh, I always like that one. But yeah, I believe we are quite a bit over time at the moment, but such is the way of 40k and having challenged red.
So yeah, thanks for watching, everybody.
Indeed.
And Into the Fray is coming end of November.
Look out for it.
Reach out, send us a message if you don't know how to. Got all the game systems pretty much,
and it's all one-day things, so you know you can fit it into your busy schedule a lot better than a nationals.
Yeah. And it's well worth going because it's a lot more casual, a lot more laid back.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Have a relaxed time, roll some dice, play a good game.
Have a drink at the bar. If that's your thing.
Responsibly. But yes, thanks for watching, everyone. Join us again in 2 weeks for another episode where we'll be talking about something else.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Bye.
Cheerio.